investigation of infertility is very important one. Nowadays, the infertility, the inability to bear a child by a couple, okay, means that there is something wrong, that the couple cannot have a child. Okay, this is a very great problem, and nowadays it is increasing. I don't know why it is increasing, but I think it may be. My guess is that now we are now in this period of time, say 21st century, we are more exposed to more chemicals, okay, in the food, insecticides, and then radiations, and like that. So many chemicals, and so that can lead to sterility, both in. That is my guess, but and this modern say, habit, modern period now, there is a city-oriented people now, okay, not village-oriented people. All people are now centered in the cities throughout the world, and cities so busy. All people are busy also, okay, in their work, and so there is other factor also, social factors, economic factors, and other things that may lead to infertility. Okay, and the tendency is that one couple has only they will conceive only one child, and that becomes also a burden. How to take so many burdens of a lot of children by a couple. Okay, this is the thing. Other social aspect and psychological aspects also. That thing I will not go there, but the main then if there is a what is infertility and subfertility, there are two things. Okay, one is infertility and other is subfertility. So we'll discuss on that also, and how to investigate in this subfertility condition, both in male and in female. Okay, that there are some approach. There are a lot of hormones there. Not only hormones, there are sperm count in the male, and there is a anatomical investigations of the fallopian tube, uterus, maybe some congenital defect in the uterus, fallopian tube in the females, like that. That may also lead to infertility. Apart from that, so there are hormonal imbalance that can lead to infertility. This is biochemistry, so class. So that's I will be more concentrated on the hormones. Okay. And so there are other anatomical defect and pathological defect, and so on and so on. So we'll discuss on that. Okay. Our objectives, today's objective is that at the end of this lecture, you all students will be able to know about, comprehend the laboratory approach to infertility in female. Similarly, interpret results of investigation of infertility in female, and understand the diagnostic approach to infertility in male as well, and interpret the results of investigation of infertility in male. Okay, both female and male. So today's objective is on this. Okay, these are the objectives of today's lecture. It is not. Now, the outline of lecture is like that: definition of infertility, and that also subfertility, its background, clinical history and physical examination in infertile cases, investigation of male infertility, investigation of female infertility, and there is one condition called hyperprolactinemia. Okay, if there is high level of high prolactin level in the blood, that may also lead to the infertility. So these are things we'll discuss today. Okay, so these are the outlines of today's lecture. Infertility definition. Very listen carefully. Okay, you have to define infertility. What is the definition of infertility? Failure of a couple to conceive after 1 year of regular unprotected intercourse. Okay? This is the failure of a couple to conceive after 1 year of regular unprotected intercourse. Okay? This is the definition of infertility. And so now the background or the of the infertility is infertility may be caused by endocrine problems. Okay, this is common in the female but rare in the male. Endocrinal problem. Elevated serum progesterone at day 21 of the menstrual cycle indicates that ovulation has occurred. Okay, remember. Elevated serum progesterone at day 21 of the menstrual cycle indicates that one of the clue about ovulation, how female is ovulating or not, that you can do just by measuring the progesterone level at 21st day of the menstrual cycle. Okay, if there is elevation of serum progesterone level, then you can think that you can guess that the ovulation has occurred. Okay? In both men and women, infertility, a serum FSH level of greater than 25 unit per liter indicates primary gonadal. In both, if FSH is increased, then you measure the FSH level. If this FSH level is greater than 25 unit per liter, then that indicates that there is primary gonadal. Remember, these are the two hormonal measurements that give some clue about the infertility. Okay, because today's class is biochemistry. I will discuss on the hormonal aspect. So what you do is that you can whether the female is ovulating or not. First, you can diagnose that. Okay, and then if you measure FSH level in both female and male, if it is elevated, then that it indicates the primary gonadal. Okay, so that primary gonadal failure means there is a problem in the testes or on the ovary. Okay, that's why the testis is not secreting TSH level, and there is no negative feedback mechanism. And that's why there is FSH level is increased, or if there is a estrogen level is low, then there is no negative feedback mechanism, then FSH level goes increasing. And that's why if you just by measuring FSH level, both first time, okay, if the couple comes with you, then first time you can measure FSH level and see whether it is elevated or not. Okay, this is the first investigations. The ovulation, you have, whether female is ovulating or not, just by measuring progesterone level at 21st day of 21st day of menstrual cycle, you can have some idea. And both female and male, you can measure for FSH the first time. Then you can get some clue about what is the cause of infertility. Okay. Deepika सुनने को छ?
छ sir.
Okay. So then you have to take the clinical history also. You should take the full clinical history. Before physical examinations, you should get some information about previous pregnancies, contraceptive practices, serious illness, whether tuberculosis or chronic disease illness that may lead to may lead to infertility also. And past chemotherapy or radiotherapy, okay, chemotherapy, especially in the cancer people, they give chemotherapy and radiotherapy. These people, they are those people who are taking chemotherapy and radiotherapy, they are very debilitated and cannot conceive. Okay? And congenital abnormalities. This congenital abnormality part will be dealt by anatomy people. Okay, a defect in the fallopian tube, defect in the so many anatomical defects are there. Embryological developmental defect. Okay, and these things that you should learn on the anatomy. Okay, and smoking habits. Smoking can also, if people are heavy smokers, they that may lead to infertility. And there are some drugs that may lead to also infertility. Drug usage of drug history and STD, sexually transmitted diseases, that can lead to the infertility because there is gonorrhea and other things. And there is a pus discharge and everything. Then fallopian tube maybe their stricture will develop in the fallopian tube. Okay, there may be strictures in the fallopian tube and or in the stricture in the vas deferens, stricture in the urethra, so many male urethra and everything. That may lead to infertility. And these sexually transmitted diseases are also. And frequency of intercourse is also. So these are the important informations. Okay, there are the important information that you should get before any physical examination of these infertility cases. Okay. Now, physical examinations. Then after you do the physical examination. Okay. So in physical examination, you should look for the indication of following things. Okay. So you will be more careful about following indicators. Now, first you look at the hypothalamic pituitary or thyroid disorders. Any hypothalamic disorder, pituitary disorder, or gonadal disorder, Cushing syndrome, okay? That may also be a cause of infertility. Galacturia, prolactin level, high prolactin level, inhibited breast milk production in the absence of pregnancy, most commonly caused by hyperprolactinemia. That may also lead to infertility. Hirsutism. Hirsutism is an increase in the body hair with male pattern distribution in female because of this androgen level, high androgen levels, okay, in the female. So these are the physical things that we should do in the physical examination. Okay. So Deepika सुनिएको छ?
Sir.
Okay. So after doing this physical examination, then we'll come to the female. First we'll discuss on the female infertility, and then we'll go to the male infertility as well. Okay. Now, before going to know the female infertility, you should know about the anatomy of female organs, ovary, fallopian tubes, uterus, cervix, vagina, all these. Now, if there is stricture in the fallopian tube, then ovum can pass, okay, into the uterus or in the fallopian. Usually, the fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube, okay, and it passes the uterus by duct, fallopian duct, and then it is now implanted in the uterus. In anatomy, if there is any anatomical defect on that, that may lead to the infertility. And see that, for example, the female is suffering, the previous past history is that she was suffering from sexually transmitted gonorrhea. Then there may be stricture may be produced in the fallopian tube, both fallopian tube. Then ovum Now, you see, normal menses, whether she is suffering from normal, she has a normal menses or amenorrhea or oligomenorrhea. I have given the definition of amenorrhea and oligomenorrhea in the last lecture. Okay, so if she has a normal menses, then whether she is ovulating or not, first thing to look for the her condition is to whether she has normal menses, but whether she is ovulating or not. So in the beginning, I have told you just by measuring progesterone level in the 21st day of menstrual cycle, you can have a guess. Okay, she is ovulating or not. Then, if it is greater than 30 nanomole per liter, she is ovulating. Okay. If the progesterone level is less than 10 nanomole per liter, she is not ovulating. Okay. She is not ovulating. Then you go for measuring LH, FSH, and prolactin. And then you go further. That will come later. Now this table joins here. Okay, this algorithm joins here. Now we'll come to this algorithm again, starting from amenorrhea. Now, if she has no menses, that is amenorrhea. If she is frequent, very less menses, the frequency of menstruation is very less. Then you do perform pregnancy test. If it is positive, no further test is required. She is pregnant. All right. If the pregnancy test is negative, okay, remember, then you measure LH, FSH, and prolactin. These three hormones are very important to diagnose hormonal causes of infertility. Okay, what are these three hormones? LH, FSH, and prolactin. Listen carefully. This is very important. Okay. Then there are 4 conditions. If there is high FSH level and there is LH is also high, then there is ovarian failure. Okay, means there is no proper estrogen level. That's why there is no negative feedback mechanism, because that's why this gonadal hormones FSH and LH there is no negative feedback mechanism. That's why they are elevated. Then you can diagnose that she is having ovarian failure. Then how to treat ovarian failure is another thing that I am not going to do that. These things will be described by pharmacology or in the respective clinical years of 3rd year and 4th year. These gynecological people will tell you how to treat primary ovarian failure. Okay, by supplementing hormones and whatever. There are measures to cure that. Okay, ovarian failure. I am not going to on the treatment side, but just I am telling you of the biochemical, endocrine, hormonal investigation. Okay, listen carefully. Now this is now diagnosed as a ovarian failure. Now then other alternative will be if there is high LH and low FSH. So then it is a very PCOS. What is PCOS? Anybody? What is PCOS? I will ask later on also. Okay, you can go and read what is PCOS, very common thing. Then that condition is called PCOS. Okay, Deepika? Sunni ko sir?
Thorsten.
Okay. Then there is high prolactin level, another condition. High prolactin level is, now there is high LH and low FSH. There is both high FSH and LH. Then other condition, high LH and low FSH. And then high prolactin level, or then you get hyperprolactinemia. Okay, that prolactin, high prolactin level inhibits the synthesis of FSH and LH. Okay, it inhibits FSH, both LH and FSH. That's why there is infertility. So we can find out the hyperprolactinemia cause, whether there is adenoma, okay, in the pituitary gland, and then treat accordingly. Okay, then if you treat that adenoma and other things, surgery and other things, then that is relieved and that can be cured. Okay, if all these hormones are normal, then further test indicated. Further test means anatomical test or histosalpingography. So you can guess that there is not a hormonal defect, but hormones are very normal. Hormonal condition is endocrine condition is good, but there may be some anatomical defect or pathological defect that may that is having causing this infertility. Then you go on that way. Okay, so you have to do radiological investigation. Okay, ultrasonography, histosalpingography. You look at in histosalpingography by giving dyes. Okay, you take the radiography, X-ray, and then you can see the patency of the fallopian tube duct, fallopian duct, and anatomical all uterus and everything, condition of uterus, whether uterus is retroverted, anteverted, and there are so many causes, anatomical defect that can lead to infertility. Okay, so further test is indicated. So what is now? Anybody can tell me the full form of PCOS? Deepika? Huh? Tell me again. Hello?
Polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Yes, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now, in this condition, there is a high LH, but there is low FSH. Okay. This is very we'll ask in the theory also. Okay, this table, whether table or this is called algorithm. You should remember, very important. Okay, I will ask in the examination also, in the Bible also. Now I'll go further. Then if there is ovarian androgen secretion, there is increase in ovarian androgen secretion. If there is obesity, there is insulin resistance will be there. There is increase in ovarian androgen secretion. Okay, in obesity also. Then there is hyperprolactinemia we discussed, and PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay, and then there is increased serum and low FSH or normal FSH. Then if you suspect primary ovarian failure, then postmenopausal hormonal pattern, increase in gonadotropins level and decrease in estradiol, hormone replacement therapy can be given. This will not, okay. Then we'll give hormone response replacement therapy. Okay. And then if there is Cushing syndrome, hypogonadotropic hypogonadism, rare due to hypothalamic pituitary relation. So there are a lot of causes. So accordingly, this cause can be find out, and correction of this problem should be initiated. Okay, correction of this problem should be initiated in female.
अरे यार फ्रेम से
अच्छा, then these are the go further. Now this is now so PCOS. Okay, PCOS is common, so that's why we'll more discuss on the PCOS. PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now there was a concession work group in 2003 AD. So it is given in the journal Fertility and Sterility, January 2004. Okay, this journal. So they have come to some conclusion that the European Society for Human Reproduction and Embryology and the American Society of Reproductive Medicine recommended that at least 2 of the following 3 features are required for PCOS to be diagnosed. These 3 features are there, out of which to diagnose PCOS, any 2 should be there. Okay. So what are these 2 features? The number 1 is oligo-ovulation or anovulation manifested as oligomenorrhea or amenorrhea. In PCOS, there is ovulation is less or there is no ovulation, and which is manifested as oligomenorrhea and amenorrhea. Okay, what is oligomenorrhea and amenorrhea? I have discussed in the previous lecture. So this is one feature. The other feature is hyperandrogenism, means the adrenal hormones are very high, clinical evidence of androgen excess or hyperandrogenemia, biochemical evidence of androgen excess. So this other feature, and then other there may be polycystic ovaries. If you do the USG in the ovary, you can see lot of follicle cyst. Okay, so many cysts can be seen. Small cyst, or maybe some may be large, 1 or 2 may be large one, other may be small one, like that. So by ultrasonography USG you can see. So out of 3, if any these 2 criteria meets, then you can diagnose as a PCOS. Okay, remember. So I will ask in the Viva, what is PCOS? How to diagnose PCOS? Okay, hormone. This is biochemistry, hormonal. Okay, that's why I will ask. Okay, in the exam, Viva examination. Now that was about female. Now coming to the male infertility. Okay, so we have finished the female one, and the male infertility. First of all, we should know about the anatomy of male organs: bladder, this is vas deferens, seminal vesicle, then prostate gland, epididymis, okay, all urethra, everything, testes. So these are all organs. If there are any defect in these organs, suppose there is this urethral stricture, defect in the vas deferens tube and everything, if there is defect, then that anatomical defect can lead to the infertility also. Okay, so that's why prostatitis, okay, inflammation of the prostate gland, and all those things. Okay, so there are so many conditions. Same algorithms are there for male. Okay, male also have history and examination. First thing that you look for the male infertility, that you should do first sperm count. Okay, sperm count or analysis of the semen. Okay, so then if the semen analysis shows that normal sperm analysis, that the person is eugonadal, so no any other endocrine test are required. Just by doing sperm count, that is enough. If it is normal, then male is okay. Male cause are all right. Male is that male is not suffering from any other disease. Okay, first you do the semen analysis, sperm count. If there is now If there is abnormal sperm count, then only you do measurement of testosterone, gonadotropins, and prolactin. Testosterone level, FSH, LH, and prolactin. How many hormones? 1, 2, 3, 4. So testosterone 1, FSH, LH 2, and prolactin 3, 4. 4 hormones you have to measure. Okay? If the male has no normal sperm count. Then there may be three alternatives. One is there is low testosterone. If there is low testosterone level and high gonadotropin, FSH and LH, then it is primary testicular failure. In the female case, it was primary ovarian failure. In the male, then you guess that there is the primary testicular failure. Okay? So then there may be hormonal replacement. You can do in such cases hormonal replacement therapy. Okay, you can give testosterone level by injection or by whatever by means. Okay, this treatment part is done by this gynecology people. Later on, you learn in the gynecology, obstetric and gynecological sessions. Okay. Then this is one alternative. The other alternative is both testosterone and gonadotropins are low. Then what is that condition? This is called hypogonadotropic hypogonadism. Okay, hypogonadotropic hypogonadism due to hypothalamic pituitary disease. Okay, remember the term hypogonadotropic hypogonadism. Okay. Now, this may be you can do by hormonal replacement, other things, okay, things. Then third alternative would be there is low testosterone level and high prolactin level. So there is a hyperprolactin in the male also that can inhibit FSH and LDH, and that lead to infertility. Now there is adenoma, pituitary adenoma, which is secreting prolactin level. Then you can remove it by surgery. Then it can be cured. But although this is a curable, but it is rare. Okay, but it is rare. Most common is this one: primary testicular failure. Then second one is hypogonadotropic hypogonadism, and third one is hyperprolactin. Okay, so these are the this algorithm you should know. Okay, you record it. That I'll ask in the Viva. I'll ask in the theory as well. Whatever. Okay. Now, we have not discussed about the semen analysis because which is very important part. Okay, if the semen analysis is normal, then no further investigation required. That's why semen analysis is very important. So there are some criteria on semen analysis. You should look at the volume. You should look at the liquefaction time, sperm density count, motility of the sperm, the presence of abnormal spermatozoa, abnormal shape or motility, pH of the semen, and the WBCs present whether the presence of WBCs in the semen analysis shows that there is infection. Okay, so these things should be looked for while doing semen analysis. Okay. Now, Now we are coming to the primary testicular failure. What are the causes of primary testicular failure? So causes of primary testicular failure may be damage to both the interstitial cells and tubules, low testosterone level, and high gonadotropin. Indicates that there is primary testicular failure because there is damage to the interstitial cells. Only tubular impairment causes selective increase in FSCs, while androgen may be normal. Okay, so there may be tubular impairment or interstitial cell impairment. Okay, interstitial cells or Leydig cell. Interstitial cells are Leydig cells. Okay, there may be abnormality in the Leydig cells. Okay, or there may be tubules, seminiferous tubules. If you go to the anatomy of the testis, there are seminiferous tubules. Okay, where the sperms are stored and made. Okay, so then the tubular in the defect in the seminiferous tubules also can lead to infertility. Okay, Leydig cells and seminiferous tubules defect. Okay, remember. There is a hyperprolactinemia that may lead to infertility. Okay, and so that's why I'll discuss on the today lecture. Because they are very important. This is although it is rare, but it is very, very important. So prolactin and hyperprolactin. Prolactin is an anterior pituitary hormone. Okay, its secretion is tightly regulated. It is stimulated releasing hormone from the hypothalamus, inhibited by dopamine from hypothalamus. Okay. It acts directly on the mammary glands to control lactation. Okay. So these are the features of now there is a TRS, which is a stimulator. Thyroid hormone releasing hormone also stimulates prolactin. Okay, remember. So then dopamine is a inhibitor. Okay, so these are the things that should very important about prolactin hormone. What is hyperprolactinemia? Hyperprolactinemia is elevated circulating prolactin level. Okay, hyperprolactinemia is a condition in which there is elevated circulating level of prolactin hormone. A common condition, it causes infertility in both sexes due to gonadal function impairment. What is the early indication of hyperprolactinemia? So in women, there is amenorrhea and galactorrhea. Okay, and in men, in early stage there is no in male, we cannot have any clue in the early stage, but later on in male also you can see galactorrhea. Okay, gynecomastia and galactorrhea in the later condition, later time. But in early time, the male cannot show anything, but female will show there is amenorrhea and galactorrhea. In spite of amenorrhea, she has galactorrhea. Okay. So, causes of hyperprolactinemia. Stress, drug, is estrogen, phenothiazines, okay? Metoclopramide, methyl dopa, alpha methyl dopa, seizure. Seizure mean any epilepsy type of seizure. Okay? Primary hypothyroidism. Prolactin is stimulated by the raised TRS. Okay? If there is primary hypothyroidism, TRS level is also increased, which may also stimulate the prolactin. Okay? Gland pituitary cells which secrete prolactin level, and then there is high prolactin. Other pituitary diseases are also related. Prolactinoma is a tumor which is commonly is a microadenoma. Micro means very small, can look only can be seen in the microscopically. There is no other features. Then idiopathic hypersecretion of prolactin due to impaired secretion of dopamine that usually inhibits prolactin. So if there is a less secretion of dopamine, then it can lead to as well as a hyperprolactinemia, which is called idiopathic. Okay, cause is unknown. That's why idiopathic. So these are the causes of hyperprolactinemia. If these are excluded, if these causes are excluded, then these are the differential diagnosis. Okay? Stress, drugs, other disease, differential diagnosis, prolactinemia or idiopathic hypersecretion. You have to think about these lines. Okay? Then, how to differentiate between prolactinoma, a tumor, or idiopathic hypersecretion? How to differentiate both these two conditions? Whether there is a tumor or there is idiopathic hypersecretion, or their cause is low level of dopamine. How to differentiate? You can do detailed pituitary imaging, even CT scan, MRI. Okay, you have to do pituitary imaging. Dynamic test of prolactin secretion. There is a dynamic test of prolactin secretion. I have I have discussed so many dynamic tests in endocrinology. Okay, remember that. Okay, that is dynamic test. I will not go on that. Okay, because I have already explained what is dynamic test. So there is a dynamic test of prolactin secretion that is how to do is that here we give TRH, okay, then measure serum prolactin level. Okay. Then if there is increase in prolactin level, if there is increase, we measure prolactin level by after giving TRH. If we measure prolactin level, if it is increased, then it is can diagnose as a idiopathic hyperprolactinemia. If no rise of prolactin, then this is pituitary. Okay, by just giving TRS, you can guess, you can diagnose the idiopathic hypersecretion or the prolactinoma, tumor secreting the prolactin. take home message. There is a take home message. About this infertility. So, is that now there are very important point about infertility. Abnormal menstruation and infertility in women can arise from disease of the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, ovary, adrenal, or thyroid. Okay. In female, if there is a regular ovulating menstrual cycle, serum progesterone level measured in the middle of the luteal phase, 21st day, should be greater than 30 nanomole. Okay. If serum progesterone measured in the middle of the luteal phase, or that is 21st day, is less than 10 nanomole per liter, then there is no ovulation. Okay, there is no ovulation. Endocrine cause of infertility in the male are rare. In both male and female, infertility of say a serum FSH level greater than 25 unit per liter indicates primary gonadal level. Okay. Although hyperprolactinemia is a rare cause of infertility, but it should be suspected. If there is no any other, you cannot find any other cause. Okay, of infertility, you have to do the measure the level of prolactin level as well. Okay. Now, this is the thing, but so we have discussed most important point regarding male and female infertility. Okay. Then first thing is that what is the difference between subfertility and infertility? Okay. Failure of a couple to conceive after 1 year of regular unprotected intercourse is called infertility. Then what is subfertility? Subfertility is that the couple has previous pregnancies, previous menstrual cycle normal, but later on they develop infertility. Then that is called subfertility. Okay. The difference between infertility and subfertility is that the previous condition was normal, but later on they develop infertility. Then that is called subfertility. Okay. And but other thing that I have not given you is the normal level of semen analysis. Now this is today's home task. Okay, so you look any textbooks, or but not you go on the website. You search the normal semen count, normal semen analysis. You go and search. Okay, and search, and everybody should search today and find out what is the normal volume of a semen of a normal male. What is the liquefaction time? Liquefaction time is that now normally semen is not liquid, semi-solid like things, okay, but opalescence, not clear, okay, not translucent, but later on it becomes translucent, okay, and that is called liquefaction time. It takes some time. Normally it takes some time. If it remains longer period, then it is abnormal. The density, sperm count, how many? Okay, volume, then count. How many sperms are there in the field, in the microscope, under the microscope? Okay, that also you can You should look, all of you should look for that, okay? Then motility. Motility means how these sperms are moving on, okay? Velocity and everything, direction, everything, how they are fast moving or not moving. Then if there are immotile sperm, they are dead, okay? If there are mobile sperm, they are not dead, active. So in normal sperm count, as many as the sperms are motile, they are very active. Okay, this is the thing. Then other things you look for is that the presence of abnormal. So maybe some sperm as a normal. You look for the normal anatomy of sperms. Okay, it has a head, it has a tail. Okay, it has a head, it has a tail. Okay, it's given in this figure here, head and tail, and there is a. Now, if two sperms are fused together, then 2 hairs are there. They are abnormal, abnormal sperm. And then other sperm may be the head is not normal. Okay? So, anatomical defect in the sperm. Abnormal shape. That you should look for, okay? And then pH, normal pH of a sperm medium, that also respect the normal function of sperms, okay? And if there are WBCs, post cells, especially WBCs, leukocytes, polymorphonucleosides, and post cells, then that it indicates that there is infection in the seminiferous tubules or seminal vesicles, okay? Prostatitis, infection in the prostate. So in the male, that may lead to the mixing of this infection, the post cells and WBCs in the semen, and that is also abnormal. Okay. I will ask this: the normal semen analysis count. How many of them are there? What is how to look motility and abnormal spermatozoa, how to find out the abnormal spermatozoa, pH, WBC, liquefaction time, volume, in the next lecture, okay? Next lecture I will ask question. You should answer that. And you look for the web, you search in the Google and find out the normal, okay? This is homework. Then I will ask in the next lecture. Next lecture is, I think, tomorrow, so I will ask tomorrow, I think. Although it is a lecture on CNS, but first, before starting my regular lecture, I will ask the question. Okay, is anybody? And ask about normal semen analysis there. Okay, tomorrow. Then, okay. So by this now, this time, today's lecture was very important. And we discussed about how to investigate male infertility, female infertility, and things mainly not anatomical one. Anatomical things will be discussed by pathology people, okay? But I have discussed mainly on the endocrinological aspect. So this is very important. And this is very important for examination also, in Viva also, in theory and everywhere. So you should read very carefully. Okay? These are the point. Okay? Sometimes normal semen analysis, it can be asked in the Viva. Okay? You should know about that. So I'll ask tomorrow also. This is homework for you. All right. Deepika. हेलो
हजुर सर
ओके ल आज यति भयो है त